In this exclusive RC Expert interview, I am joined by Andreas Schick, the sales specialist for next generation firefighting at Magirus. Thank you, Andreas, so much for joining us here today. I really appreciate it. And we're going to talk all about robotics in firefighting. First of all, congratulations. Magirus is celebrating a significant milestone with its 160th anniversary and honouring the 200th birthday of its founder, Conrad Magirus, as well. So could you share with us the company's rich history and heritage and how it's influenced its current innovations?
Yes, sure. So first, thank you for the congratulations, even if I contribute the smallest part of this success for sure, yeah. So Conrad Dietrich Magirus was very innovative at his time, and he has also the willing to take high risks and to go new ways, absolutely new ways in this time. For example, 1873 with the first mobile ladder, the Leiter, and we have maintained this mentality over all the years. And we are still trying to go new ways and constantly bringing new innovations on the market. As one of the leading manufacturers of firefighting equipment, we must always lead the way and the market. And this is the reason why we now enter the field of robotics.
Well, it's always a pleasure to hear such a rich history. It's always nice when you have a long-standing history that has influenced the ethos of the company throughout its entire timeline. And robotics technology in firefighting has seen significant advancements in recent years. Could you elaborate a little bit on the primary benefits that robots bring to firefighting and emergency response efforts, particularly in terms of enhancing safety and operational effectiveness?
So I think this question is easy to answer. If we look at the approach of firefighters today, in many cases, we still work like 50 years ago. I know this statement is a bit provocative, but when we look at firefighters, the firefighters are still standing in front of the flames with a hand nozzle, just like 50 years ago. Of course, we drive to the mission with ultra-modern large trucks, and also with the technology of the equipment has improved. But at the end of the day, the firefighters are still in these dangerous areas and still in front of the fire. And this is not necessary anymore. We are now able to keep the firefighters away from the fire and use robots to kill the fire. But I think it's not only all about security. We also need to talk about the strain on the firefighters. It's enormously exhausting to extinguish a fire with a breathing apparatus and hand nozzle. Also, the logistic of the equipment at the missions are exhausting. So everything what you today have to bring by hand to the mission, like pumps, like fans, the hoses, scissors and spreaders, all this heavy equipment, you can also transport it with a robot. It's not necessary to carry it by hand. So all these situations we can improve with robots.
Definitely. I think it stands to reason that obviously firefighters will still have to enter burning buildings at the end of the day. But if we can mitigate that risk to firefighter life, to public life, to go, and activate a robot to go into the hot zones of a fire, fantastic. We should be doing that to help enable and benefit our firefighters. And just in terms of firefighting scenarios, quick decision making and precision are obviously crucial elements. So how do firefighting robots contribute to improving response and decision accuracy in these critical situations? And does this impact the overall success of firefighting missions?
So on the one hand, the leaders can make decisions more quickly. For example, it's always easier to decide to send a robot into a tunnel or industrial building at the risk of collapse than to send firefighters inside. On the other hand, our robots are all equipped with a camera system, and of course you can use them just for exploration. So this allows the situation to be assessed more quickly, and the right decisions can be made fast. And last but not least, with the help of the TAF or the Wolf, we have the possibility to use more water when you use a hand nozzle, and to use the water more efficient. So we are also able to kill the fire more fast.
And just on the topic of your two kind of flagship products, obviously the Aircore TAF and the Wolf R1 represent significant advancements in firefighting technology. So can you explain a little bit about the concept behind integrating such advanced robots into firefighting and emergency response scenarios?
Well, as I already mentioned, it's mainly about protecting and relieving the firefighters. It's clearly not the aim to replace firefighters. So we really don't want to replace the firefighters. We just want to support them. The decision what the machine should do is always made by the firefighters and not by the machine. But of course, we can provide here a great support for the firefighters. Even if you have to consider these devices, the Wolf R1 and the TAF are completely different, two complete different machines.
Definitely, and I think you raised a very good point there. You know, as soon as robots or artificial intelligence or anything along that nature is mentioned, people automatically assume that it's going to take over their jobs. But you know, it's in order to aid firefighters, it's meeting the demands and challenges that they need. So finding solutions for those challenges is exactly, you know, the reason for these robotics and how it can progress the nature of this industry. And TAF is noted for obviously its multifunctional use that you touched on a little bit earlier, ranging from, you know, extinguishing fires with water and foam to providing, you know, logistics support and vehicle rescue. How does this versatility enhance firefighting operations? And what are some of the real world scenarios where the TAF has proven particularly beneficial?
So we certainly won't have enough time to explain everything in detail for sure, yeah. But I will do my best. So first, the name TAF means turbine-aided firefighting. So we work here with a turbine. It's a solution to use a very fine water mist in combination with the turbine to extinguish fire, mainly. We have managed here to use the water mist, what is available, as efficient as possible. So if you just have maybe 300 or 400 liters per minute available, you can also use it with the turbine. If you go up to 6,000 liters, you can also use 6,000 liters per minute with this machine. So it's very flexible. And we are using here a very, very fine water mist, so very small water drops. And we generate these water drops with special nozzles. So not with a high pressure. We can also work here with a low pressure of maybe 3 bar or a bit more, but we don't need a high pressure to work with this fine water mist. And the idea behind is to increase the time that the water will stay in the air and also to increase the surface of the water. So this means we can use the water extremely efficient. And by using the turbine, we achieve a throwing distance of about 60 meters with the water mist, just with the airflow. And of course, we can also use a standard monitor here, and then we have about 18 meters distance. As you already have mentioned, the TAF is multifunctional, which means we can also use the turbine only for ventilation, so to get out the smoke of a building, or through the pallet forks in the front. It's a great help for logistic tasks. Of course, we have a camera system, including a thermal camera on the TAF, so areas can be explored and hotspots can be found. The TAF, it's a big machine, let's say a heavy machine. So we have a weight of about 4 tons, but with this weight, we can reach an impressive high pulling force of about 3.8 tons. So it doesn't matter what's in the way of the TAF will remove it. Also, when we think about burning electric cars in underground parking areas, you can enter here with the TAF because the height of the TAF, it's below 2 meters. And then you can extinguish the fire, and you are also able to remove the car out of this area.
You touched on 2 incredibly topical points there that I just want to highlight again. You know, the first is use of water mist. You know, where firefighting departments are facing a lot of challenges when it comes to the use of water, the amount of water that we're using. So to be able to use it in a more efficient way is, you know, brilliant. And the second as well is the electric vehicles, especially in underground parking lots, where we need to extricate vehicles or mitigate firefighters going in there because of all the toxicity and the fumes and the lack of ventilation. So to have 2 solutions there for 2 very big trends and challenges in the industry right now is brilliant. And I just wanted to highlight as well, to go on to the Wolf R1. I felt like I couldn't say that for a second there. The Wolf R1. Obviously, this robot is highlighted for its ability to operate remotely, even beyond the line of sight, which is fantastic. So thanks to the vehicle control unit, correct me if I'm wrong, the VCU. But can you discuss the importance of this feature in ensuring safety and efficiency during emergency operations, as well as obviously a little bit about the technology behind it, without divulging any secrets?
Yeah, so the Wolf R1, it's another topic. The TAF, it's a diesel-driven machine. The Wolf R1, it's fully electric. So we have here two big electric engines, one on each side, each with a power of 7.5 kilowatt. And we can generate a torque of over 1,000 Newton. What is really impressive for this small machine, for the small robot here, 1,000 Newton. Also, the battery is a big topic for the machine. We are using here only one big battery inside, a lithium-ion battery with 8.8 kilowatt hours. And you can work with one battery up to 8 hours in the mission. So it's the time, like in a real mission, you can work up to 8 hours. If you just stand in front of the fire and you're moving the monitor, it's more than 8 hours. So this means we can cover with one battery the most of the missions. In case, if the mission will take longer, you're able to change the battery without any tools. You can just have to pull the battery out at the back and push a new one in. And this is done within 2 minutes. Of course, the R1 is also for a multifunctional purpose. So we have also a camera system on the Wolf R1, also with a thermal camera. We have strong LED lights. We have an electric winch on it. We have also a logistic platform to transport equipment, also insured persons up to 190 kilograms. But one point is important for me. You already talked about the VCU. So we call it the Vehicle Control Unit. You have to imagine it's like a control center inside a truck. You have big screens where we transmit the camera pictures of the Wolf, and you have controllers inside. It's like PlayStation controllers to steer the Wolf. And this you can do in a range, in a distance up to 2.5 kilometers. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, it's more or less the only way to control the robot really out of your sight. You need the big camera pictures on the big screens, and the operators, they're sitting in an absolute quiet area. So the cabin is closed. They have no noise from outside. They have, of course, less stress, and they can work here in full concentration. Mm. And to be honest, it's the only way to work out of your sight with a robot. You need a kind of a VCU. We can build it in big trucks, also in a small transporter. We could also build it in a building for industrial fire brigades, for example. And what is always important for us is that all devices doesn't matter if we talk about TAF, Wolf, or the VCU. They must be easy to use. So the remote controller, they are very, very easy. When I go to customers and I demonstrate the robots, I always just give the remote controller to the customer and say, try it. The left joystick is just to drive the robot. And after 1 minute, they can more or less, they are able to operate the full machine. Mm. And the same is at the VCU. We have two controllers inside and they are looking like PlayStation controllers. Of course, we have a military standard here, but the feeling and the use, it's more or less like a PlayStation. So it's very, very easy, and therefore the firefighters are never overwhelmed in stressful situations.
It's a very key point as well. One of the biggest difficulties with integrating new technology with firefighting departments and firefighters is the training aspect, is the difficulty to understand new technology. We as an industry as a whole, we must rely on our tools, must rely on our equipment, because we're dealing with life and death. We're dealing, it's life safety. So to have the ability to just go, yeah, here you go, here's the controller, go for it. That simplicity is key. And just to touch, obviously, you mentioned the multifunctional use of the R1 as well. How do you ensure ease of use and adaptability for emergency responders in high stress situations? Is that more or less the being cut off and enclosed from, everything else, no noise? Is that along the same lines as that?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
So, of course. So you mentioned the multifunctional use of the R1 and its ability to perform various functions. How do you ensure the ease of use and adaptability for emergency responders in high stress situations?
Yeah, it's more or less what I already explained. Is the controlling, the steering, it's very easy because all the functions are described very clear. So it's always easy to use. And within the VCU, with the, let's say, with the PlayStation controllers, most of our customers are used to it. So it's just they grab the controller and they can drive.
So just a quick estimation, how long do you think a training would take for a firefighter? An hour, a couple of?
Yeah, normally we use for a standard robot about 4 hours for the training. Of course, when they have the robot at the fire brigade, they have to train it again, just to get the feeling. But to use it, it's very, very simple. So
once again, the simplicity is fantastic.
Yeah.
And just lastly, to touch on, obviously, Magirus's portfolio includes, a broad array of products from drones to digital systems. How do these different technologies integrate and complement each other in providing these holistic and comprehensive solutions for firefighting?
Yeah, I think it's clear that drones are meanwhile very common and very important for firefighters. And now we have our own drone, the MI. It's specially made for firefighters. So we send no data to any cloud. We store no data at clouds. And all the pictures will stay in the hands of the firefighters. We achieve here extreme long flight time, and we are also very flexible with the different attachments on the drone, like cameras, lights, speakers. So we are very flexible, and the drone is just specially made for the firefighters. And also when we talk about the robots in combination with the drone, it's a great combination because when you operate with the R1 out of the VCU and you combine it with the picture of the drone, you can see the wolf from above and also all the surroundings. So it's really easy to operate here with the wolf. And this is why it's a great combination. And also with different, let's say, digital systems, we can also provide the firefighters here just to get an overview. Where are my colleagues? Where are the trucks? All the other trucks in the missions? How much water do they have? And so on. So it's just a great combination.
So you can provide eyes in the sky and on the ground, all without having to put a firefighter's life at risk. That's what you want. That's what you want with technology and equipment. And just to close up as well, obviously, Magirus, as we look to the future, can you provide any little insights or estimations of trends or challenges, that you expect to see coming up in the robotics industry for firefighting?
So, of course, I can't provide you really with deep insights here. Yeah.
Worth a try.
For the robotics, of course, at the moment we do not really have robots. This has to be clear because at the moment all the movements of the robot is done by the firefighters. To be a robot, the machine has to take the decision what to do next. So at the moment we just control it. The firefighters control it. Yeah. But this will be the next step. So we are working at the moment at a follow me function. That means the robot will follow the firefighters autonomous, and you don't have to control it. But how much time we will need, we will see. So I can't say when this will come. Yeah. But as you know, we will celebrate the 160 years history and the 200th birthday of our founder. And I can say we'll celebrate this not only with a big party and good food and drinks. For sure, we will also use this opportunity to introduce new highlights in our portfolio. And as you know, Magirus is a full liner, so robots is just a small part of our company. So we are one of the leaders for changeable leathers, tank pumpers, ARF. And I'm pretty sure we will see some highlights for each product this year. So Magirus will never stop to improve the existing portfolio and also developing new technologies.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what's to come. And if it's completely autonomous robots, I'm in for it. But no, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And that is all we have time for. So thank you.
Thank you for the interest. Yeah.